Well, to shed more light on it, joining me now is Elsadig Elsheikh. He's the Director of the Global Justice Program at the Haas Institute at Berkeley, California. Thank you very much for coming in. So what are the major difficulties the country could face after swift changes?
I think one of the huge challenges that facing the Sudanese state and Sudanese society is the continuum of the military rule. So as you could see from in the ground reporting, that the people of Sudan really aware that they cannot stomach again any military rule. So what it need to be, two things. One, securing the security of the state. That's definitely, we all agree. But the second is the transfer of power to a civilian role.
And how should that be achieved, do you think?
The Sudanese opposition, in particular, the people in the ground, including folks in Sudanese opposition, they had a plan prepared before. We done this before in the past, in 1964 and 1985. So the Sudanese people and Sudanese civil society, with their political formation, been able to create an interim government from civilians that are accountable to the aspiration of the people in the ground, with the limited time and mandates to enact in very specific issues. So, for example, most people believe that 4 years will be enough for this type of interim government, but has to be led by civilians, not by people from the military. Indeed, we can include the military as part of it, but not as a leader of it. The second thing is the most important piece of this kind of transformational change in Sudan is complete dismantle of the regime. So changing personas or this gentleman with that general because have more appeal is completely missed the point. The point is the regime for the last 3 decades is structurally been violated every dignified way of the Sudanese people to live in dignity, freedom, and prosperity. So what we're looking for complete dismantle of that regime. In order to do that, you need an infrastructure. The infrastructure that is very specific to create, for example, a new judiciary, new infrastructure for the rule of law. All this mandate has to come from the street, and people in the street, they do have them. Indeed, we are happy that to see Bashir gone. However, substituting another general, that's stripping away the victory of our people from completing the phase of their popular revolt.
And do you see all that changes possible without the international community getting involved? And if so, who should get involved?
This will take me to my next point. There is 3 scenarios seems to be on Sudan. One, to continue the same way as we discussed it earlier, substitute another general that is not bloody as the previous one. The second one will be, again, circumvent people's aspiration by creating a strong man or authoritarian persons that supported by the international community. I think the international community, if they want to support the Sudanese people and Sudanese aspiration for democracy, prosperity, equality, and peace, is completely to stay put. One. Second thing, to be able to do not recognize any military leadership of this transformation of power. So I think the international community need to be in alert. Do not just be in hurry and recognize any military ruler in Sudan, unless that aspiration comes from the Sudanese people, which we know for sure that they are not interested in supporting a military ruler, regardless where they come from. For 30 years, 3 decades, you could imagine that there is no one free from complacency with this regime. The regime being able for the last 3 decades to eliminate all independent general in the army. So I'm not quite sure will be anyone, and I'm not interested as an individual that's to change A with Z, because that's not about the persona. It's about what programs they're bringing in to the table. So the international community has the obligation is to side with the Sudanese people in their aspiration, in the leadership of their opposition, that is very clear and being submitted to the many governments in the West and in the Arab world and in the context of Africa.
Well, thank you very much for that insight and sharing your thoughts with us, Elsadig Elsheikh.
Thank you so much.